It's Thursday, October 5th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local community news, including a fire destroying a Wilton police officer's home, some disturbing flyers found in Easton, and later on a preview of our newspapers this week. Kevin Coleman joins us with your forecast, and later on a Nutmeg Sports Update, and Donald Eng will take a look back on this day in history. But first, Ansonia police are looking for a suspect who robbed a woman at gunpoint Tuesday near Ansonia Middle School. This happened around 8:30 at night on Howard Avenue. A black male approached the female victim after she exited her car. The suspect pointed a handgun at the victim and demanded her car keys. Well, she complied with the demand and then ran away. According to police, the suspect was unable to take the victim's car and then fled the scene when confronted by the woman's mother. The suspect fled north on Howard Avenue toward Grove Street. The suspect was described as a black male, about 5'5" in his early 20s, with short dark hair, also wearing a gray jacket at the time. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Ansonia Police Department at 203-735-1885. And the community is rallying around a Wilton police officer after a fire destroyed his home. Wilton Police Captain Thomas Conlon's home in Oxford burned down over the weekend, prompting family members to post a fundraising page on the website youcaring.com. Now, that fire at 12 Churchview Lane in Oxford occurred around 2 a.m. on Saturday, according to reports. The cause of the fire is under investigation, and thankfully there were no injuries. Allison Kubliati, a cousin of Ashley Conlon, the captain's wife, posted on the crowdsourcing page that Conlon was out of the house visiting with friends when the fire broke out. Ashley, a teacher, their children Katie, Bryn, and Jack, and a niece escaped the house in their pajamas. Conlon then rushed home. She said nothing in the house is salvageable, and they now must start from the ground up, rebuilding their home and their lives. You can find a link to that fundraising page at wiltonbulletin.com. And in other news, a half dozen or more residents in Easton's Freeborn Road off of Route 58 area have found White Lives Matters flyers deposited in their yards. One resident turned one of those flyers into the Easton Police Department, and it consisted of a flyer in a sealed plastic bag with rocks to weigh it down, according to Police Chief Tim Shaw. Now, Shaw said police heard of flyers left on Freeborn, Woodland, Norton, and Wildwood roads. The flyers talk about Confederate Civil War monuments taken down, reading in part, "We are defenders of the Constitution. We must not remain silent. Our voices must be heard everywhere." It went on to say, "We are Legion. Expect us." The flyer included hashtags of anti-Sharia, anti-communist, and Make America Great Again. Well, the flyers did not appear to target specific households, according to Shaw. Shaw told the Courier that everyone has the right to express themselves, but they would prefer if people express themselves in a different manner. He said if the messaging was threatening, they would take it differently. Well, the Wilton Police Department also reported numerous complaints of similar flyers on properties along Old Belden Hill Road, and Kent Road, September 25th. You can get more at eastoncourier.com. And in other news, Weston police are still not releasing the name of a person involved in what they called an untimely death that happened at Bisceglie-Scrigner Park on Wednesday, September 27th. Weston Police Detective Chris Powers said the matter is still under investigation, and there's still one family member to be notified in that case. Powers disclosed that the victim was male. He said there are no criminal elements to the case, and there's no evidence to suggest that there's any threat or harm of danger to the public. Now, the body was taken to the office of the chief medical examiner for an autopsy to reveal the cause of death. The incident was discovered at approximately 7:30 in the morning on September 27th when a Weston police officer discovered the body in the park. More on that story at thewestonforum.com. And in other news, a San Diego, California woman turned herself into Stanford police and was charged Wednesday with depositing a forged check for $110,000 into her bank account. Now, the Stanford Advocate reports that police say the money belonged to a 61-year-old Stanford man who, unbeknownst to him, had the money transferred out of his local Wells Fargo bank account. Now, Sergeant Stephen Parada said the complaint originated in early February when a city man complained to police that the money had been taken from his account. Police quickly determined that the forged check had been written to 62-year-old Nanette Hayes of San Diego. Parada said his investigators obtained a search warrant for her bank account and determined that as well as having the Stanford man's check deposited into her account, she also had a check for $300,000 from Great Neck, New York, that was part of a similar forged check scam. Parada said investigators also found evidence of several large wire transfers from her account to people in London, England, Johannesburg, South Africa, and St. Petersburg, Russia. When investigators talked to her, she told them of meeting a man online who told her he had been robbed and asked her for some help with overseas contracts. But Parada said Hayes has a history with banking problems and said she had an account shut down with another bank in 2012, allegedly for money laundering. And Fairfield police are letting the public know that they will be conducting firearms training over the next couple of weeks at a shooting range in Hoydens Hill Road area. Now, gunshots may be heard regularly throughout the day between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. The shots have been reported to be audible from as far away as the intersection of Fairfield Woods Road and Stratfield Road in Fairfield. Now, due to the number of officers training together, gunshots may resemble rapid fire. Police say they encourage all residents to remain vigilant in observing and reporting any perceived threats in your area, but they want to make sure everyone is aware of that training to establish some context for the sounds of gunshots in those areas. All right, we're going to take a turn now, throw it over to Kevin Coleman to get a look at the forecast. Kevin. All
right, thank you, Kate. Right now, we're looking at partly cloudy skies early this afternoon, followed by a possible chance of some scattered thunderstorms throughout the early evening time this afternoon. Then showers early around 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock area, then cloudy overnight with a low of 60. Tomorrow, we have an interval of clouds and sunshine throughout the early part of the morning. Around the afternoon time, then slight chance of rain showers in the evening time. So if you're going to any Friday night football games, you may want to bring an umbrella. There'll be a high of 77 tomorrow. And we look towards Saturday, same thing, intervals of clouds and sunshine throughout the afternoon with a possible chance of rain in the evening time. That'll do it for your weather update. Kate, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, Donald Lang will join us to take a look back on this day in history. Kevin will have your Nutmeg Sports Update, and we'll have more news after this.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the best experience we can. The Pamby Motors team is here to help you choose the right Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram in a friendly, pressure-free environment. And right now, during the summer clearance event, you'll find some of our best prices too. Like this lease on a 2017 Ram Quad Cab Express for $149 a month. Visit Pamby Motors, Route 7 in Richfield, PambyZone.com.
CT City Lacrosse is dedicated to the growth of lacrosse for youth and high school players. Directed by Stanford High head coach Mike Nazaro, we help players reach full potential on and off the field. With an indoor facility in Stanford, we offer year-round training, camps, clinics, and private instruction. Visit ctcitylax.com for more.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
New Canaan Foreign Car. Yes, New Canaan Foreign Car has been servicing all makes of foreign cars for over 50 years. We also buy, sell, and consign cars too. We can help you with all your automotive needs from service to sales. Call us at 203-966-2681.
Welcome back to this October 5th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. Going to throw it over now to Donald Lang to take a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, if I were to ask you what is the most humble of foods, there's a pretty good chance you would answer bread. And it is, but on this day in history, two world leaders, kings and presidents were brought to heel by the humble loaf of bread. And starting in 1789, a young woman whose name is lost to history begins banging on a drum in a Parisian market, angry that the price of bread has risen above what a laborer could earn in a day. Now, by afternoon, 10,000 women, joined by a handful of revolutionaries, were marching to Versailles in a driving rainstorm to confront King Louis XVI, which they did after a violent confrontation with his palace guards. Louis agreed to govern France from Paris. From then on, the March on Versailles, aka the Bread March, is one of the defining moments in the beginning of the French Revolution. Now we go to 1877. Chief Joseph surrenders the Nez Perce band to General Nelson Miles. Joseph and about 600 people, including 500 non-combatants, had left their reservation in Oregon, seeking political asylum with Sitting Bull and the Lakota in Canada. Following a 5-month, 1,100-mile flight, Joseph's band was surrounded in northern Montana and surrendered after a 5-day battle in sub-freezing temperatures when his people, who had left Oregon in June, were freezing to death. They were less than 40 miles from the border at the time. Joseph's heartbreaking surrender speech, probably embellished, but still among the most moving you've ever heard. 1947, Harry S. Truman delivers the first televised presidential speech in history, urging American farmers and distillers to reduce their use of grain and the American public to forego meat on Tuesdays and eggs and poultry on Thursdays, and to reduce their consumption of bread by 1 slice a day. Now, here in the U.S., we generally think that World War II ended and then everything was great, but starvation in Europe was a widespread problem for years after the war, and Truman feared that the Marshall Plan to rebuild the continent would collapse if food supply could not be reliably guaranteed. Oh, and by the way, Harry S. Truman's middle name really was just the letter S. Finally, now we go to 1986, the beginning of the end of an American scandal. Check this out.
Right now, I don't like sitting here. I don't even want to be here. No. I've been bounced around to these rooms in front of lights and cameras so much you can't believe, and I'm not used to it, and I don't care for it.
Ultimately, he took off his microphone and refused to answer any more questions, outwardly defiant. But tonight, asked if he were convicted, whether he would ask the court for a generous sentence by which he could return to his family, Hassenfuss said...
That was Eugene Hassenfuss, who on this day was captured by troops of the Sandinista regime in Nicaragua after the plane he was flying in was shot down. He confessed that he was shipping military supplies for the use of the Nicaraguan Contras. This was the beginning of what we now know as the Iran-Contra scandal. Hassenfuss, by the way, would be convicted of terrorism charges and sentenced to 30 years in a Nicaraguan jail. He was pardoned after just a few weeks, though, following an appeal to the Nicaraguan authorities by Connecticut Senator Chris Dodd. That is your look back in history for it today, October 5th, and I'm Donald Dang.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, from the start of the school year through October 4th, New Canaan police have investigated several complaints of vehicles passing school buses, and they have now charged 3 people with passing a stopped school bus, which carries a fine of $465. Now, New Canaan police report in one of those cases, a Stamford driver passed the stopped school bus as a child was attempting to cross the street to board the bus. Now, officers say they will continue to investigate those complaints and will begin intensifying enforcement. Well, Bunnell High School in Stratford will play a significant role in the gubernatorial race as it hosts a forum on Friday featuring some of the candidates. The Governor's Information Forum will be held from 12:30 to 2:05 in the afternoon, Friday at Bunnell. The event is open to students and faculty, and the forums are a series of 8 scheduled debates among candidates for governor. They will be held at schools to facilitate participation by younger voters, according to forum creator Mark Greenstein. Well, 8 committed and exploring candidates are participating in that Bunnell forum, as well as 2 other forums before Thanksgiving. 4 are Republicans, 3 are Democrats, and 1 is a Libertarian. Greenstein said that the forums present an opportunity to involve students while letting gubernatorial candidates get their message out early. More on that at StratfordStar.com. And a newly formed tourism committee met in Milford last week, bringing city officials and Chamber of Commerce members together to discuss ideas for bringing more visitors into the city at a time when regional tourism agencies are seeing their funds shrink. Julia Nash, Milford's Director of Economic Development, said that shrinking state dollars and the loss of funds because of state budget woes are part of the reason that a committee formed to start talking about tourism, but it's not the sole reason. Nash said that highlighting gems in Milford as well as promoting promoting packages and deals between businesses may be a key to showing off the city and picking up some lost tourism dollars. Now, Milford never received tourism money directly from the state, but rather took advantage of the regional statewide tourism groups that promoted towns. An example of the regional work, Nash said, might be a coastal tour that included 20-minute stops at each town. Well, there's a lot more on their plans and discussion at milfordmirror.com. And Ridgefield's Firefighters of the Year for 2017 are career firefighter Stephen Kinchy and Lieutenant Ron Napoli of the Volunteer Fire Department. The two firefighters were presented to the Board of Selectmen recently. Firefighter Kinchy recently took charge of monitoring the department's self-contained breathing apparatus program, coordinating service of the SCBA units firefighters wear in smoky environments, and maintaining the inventory of spare cylinders and their maintenance and replacement schedules. Now, Lieutenant Napoli is Volunteer Firefighter of the Year, and he's taken on a leadership role as a lieutenant, monitoring others in the department and training newest members. Lieutenant Napoli has worked as an instructor training firefighters from other towns throughout Fairfield County. He's also helped out with community events such as Safety Day and Touch a Truck events throughout the year. You can get more on both of them at theridgefieldpress.com. But now we're going to throw it over to Kevin Coleman for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Kevin.
Thank you, Kate. Well, last night the HN Network was live at Tiger Hollow for FCAT girls soccer as the Ridgefield Tigers took on their arch rivals, the Wilton Warriors. It was the Tigers who were able to prevail with a 2-0 win over the Warriors thanks to two world-class finishes from sophomore Caitlin Slaminko in the first half and freshman Faith Arnold in the second, who may arguably have scored the goal of the year. I mean, it was a beautiful finish. But let's take a look at what happened in girls soccer last night around the FCAC. Trumbull was able to defeat Greenwich 2-0. Brian McMahon puts an 8 spot on Trinity Catholic. They win 8-0. New Canaan takes down Norwalk 2-0. Ludlow takes down Central 6-0. Danbury with a nice win over Stanford 5-1. Staples with a 7-2 victory over West Hill. And in a close match, it was Darien who was able to beat Ward by a final score of 3-2. And in field hockey, we had Greenwich defeat Norwalk 4-0, and Ludlow and Richfield ended in a 2-2 draw. That will do it for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Tonight, we will have field hockey for you on the HN Network as Brian McMahon travels to Boyle Stadium to take on the Stanford Black Knights. That'll do it for your sports update. Kate, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. We are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, our editorial director, John Kovac, joins me, and we're going to preview your front pages this week after this.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now during the Jeep Celebration event and Ram Power Days. Now through October 31st.
We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's has them all, from Blue Jay Orchard's local cider donuts to Vermont Farmstead cheddar and all of your favorite varieties of local apples and pears. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and find us at stewartsmarket.com. Weed and Duryea, New Canaan's home center and full-service lumberyard. Everything for your home and improvement projects. We also carry seasonal items, barbecue grills, housewares, newest LED light bulbs, doors, windows, and much more. Weed and Duryea, 21 Grove Street, New Canaan, a division of Northeast Building Supply.
Wild Birds Unlimited.
At Wild Birds Unlimited of Brookfield, get expert advice from our certified bird feeding specialists. We offer always fresh, clean seed that will be sure to attract birds to your home feeder. Experience our excellent customer service. Open 7 days a week. Visit us at 317 Federal Road, Brookfield.
Wild Birds Unlimited. We bring people and nature together.
At Black Horse Garage, we fulfill all your sports car needs. We specialize in manufacturer-recommended service and aftermarket high-performance parts and installation. We have one of the nation's top storage facilities and offer a high-end collision department that understands your need for detail. Visit blackhorsegarage.com for more.
Want a new experience?
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, joined by John Kovach now to preview our front pages this week. John, welcome, as always.
Thank you.
And what are you looking at first?
Some seasonal art on the front of the Wilton Bulletin as an event at Ambler Farm, captured by Brian Hafley, a couple that owns a restaurant in Wilton being honored by the Chamber of Commerce, a talk coming at the library about American castles, an art show coming to the Old Town Hall, and people in Wilton rallying around a woman who is fighting ALS.
All right, well, I am taking a look at the Darien Times right now. Some nice photos from an event to raise awareness about domestic violence and domestic abuse. In her shoes, we have some men rocking the high heels there. Very cool. Also, massive cuts to town aid are looming, and officials are discussing that. And the Oxridge Hunt Club Revitalization is proposing some courts for racket sports. And some other big news in Darien is that Pear Tree Point School to close at the end of this school year. That's a private school in Darien.
The Easton Planning and Zoning Commission is looking at farm sustainability, which dovetails with what they're doing at Shaggy Coos Farm, where they have a dairy running with grass-fed Holsteins. We have a new agent for the aging in Easton and an interim director of Parks and Recreation.
All right, well, I'm taking a look at the Weston Forum, some great municipal election coverage, more on the 5 people vying for 4 Board of Education spots in the Weston Forum. Untimely death still under investigation story we just spoke about a little bit earlier on your coffee break. And some students embracing the entrepreneurial spirit by starting a tutoring company to help local students. And some good news this weekend, Family Fun Carnival is this Saturday.
The Massac High School Spanish Club in Monroe is coming together as one to help victims of the hurricane that left Puerto Rico ravaged. The candidates for first selectman in a discussion about issues such as bureaucracy, Chalk Hill School, economic development. One of a series of domestic violence vigils being held by the Center for Family Justice was held in Monroe. Veterans, a winning design. These veterans did a design that Victorinox, which is the maker of Swiss Army knives, was working with, and the town dealing with the fact that we still have no state budget.
All right, taking a look at the Milford Mirror, the city to buy 10 acres near the dump, a place for duck pond dredging and storm material, they're hoping. Also, story we just spoke about, but some discussions about bringing more tourism into Milford, a committee forming there. And the popular duck race that was once raised money for local Catholic schools, many of which have since closed, may return as a fundraiser for the United Way. So that in the works now. And a great event raising some money for hurricane relief, but teachers at Harborside Elementary getting pie to the face.
Okay.
All right.
Carl Chevrolet, which supports a number of local initiatives and charities, just does a lot of good. They're celebrating their 90th anniversary. Congratulations to them. That is on the front page of the New Canaan Advertiser, as is the allocation of another $800,000 to complete fields work, those on the fields adjacent to New Canaan High School. The audit committee is going to look at the management of those projects, and the community gathered on God's Acre in New Canaan in the wake of the shootings in Las Vegas.
All right, taking a look at the Reading pilot. Reading Police Chief honored for years of service. Also a very cool feature story, and that's a Reading man giving children with cancer a day on the sea. Very cool there. Sarah Sobel resigns from her position on the Board of Education there after she was arrested last September for risk of injury to a minor. Story you did, John, Eversource crews helping to rebuild Florida, and I know we also have a video component to that story we'll be
posted shortly.
Soon. Great, very cool.
That'll be posted shortly. In Ridgefield, we have the Conservation Commission doing a cleanup with some students from the University of Bridgeport, my alma mater. Circle Drive residents unhappy with a land purchase there and what could possibly go there. Schools are looking at possibly assigning students less homework. The town in Ridgefield looking at paperless printing. More work coming on the horse ordinance. A church house renovated, and Ridgefield Animal Rescue taking in those furry furry little ones who were left homeless by Hurricane Harvey.
Cute. All right, taking a look at the Shelton Herald. Shelton Day drawing thousands of people to Howe Avenue for that event. Also, cafeteria workers at Shelton schools fearing some pay cuts. And a new cemetery dedicated to longtime Shelton developer Royal Wells. And Shelton Top Dog making some history by winning a big competition recently. So congratulations.
Stratford will see some new names on the ballot in the election, and they'll see one less name as Joe Paul has left the race for mayor. The community in Stratford reaching out to help victims of the hurricane in Puerto Rico, and a Bridgeport man charged with breaking into a house and stabbing a person in Stratford.
All right, taking a look at the Trumbull Times. Fire Department, the Nichols Fire Department celebrating 100 years. Trumbull representatives denouncing Malloy's budget veto. Office Parks also highlighting Tesoro's plans. She is a candidate for first selectman in Trumbull. And some great photos from International Peace Day at Toshua Elementary School.
Our Arts and Leisure takes a look at an exhibition at the Aldrich Museum in Ridgefield that makes you think, and the perfection of pears. And if you're in the Shelton area, our Shelton Herald includes this year's Shelton, a guide to all things in that town.
Really helpful information.
A lot of stuff in there.
Very cool. All right, John, so no Yankee Fisherman today, but it's still a busy day.
We will be doing field hockey, Brian McMahon at Stamford. I'll be on the call for that. And then tomorrow night we have football.
Yeah.
We will have Ridgefield at Staples, two teams that's going to be quite the matchup. They're two teams that really need the win tomorrow night.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So no coffee break tomorrow as we get ready for football, but we will see you Monday at 11 with the latest local news and more. Have a great day.